Alright, and we are live. So we're back again now. Dave Chalker is joining us, and he is showing us a new prototype.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit.
So this is a game I'm calling Cook Off. It is a cooking competition, reality game show kind of thing. If you've ever watched like Chopped or Cut Kitchen or that kind of thing, this is modeled on those kinds of shows. So it is a real-time dice rolling game where you are preparing dishes to the delight of the judges. And so every round, everyone is going to be working on the same dish. So in this case, I've given everyone the soup dish, and what that does is it tells you what kind of ingredients can go into that particular dish. So here in the center is the pantry. Nobody owns any like specific stack or anything. It's just a whole array of cards that you can grab from. So at some point I will start a 5-minute timer, and what you're going to do is you're going to take your dice and roll them over and over again until you're getting the things that you want. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is to get some of these ingredients into your prep area in order to include them in your soup. So these feet here are what allow you to get ingredients from the pantry. Every foot symbol that you roll allows you to go into the pantry and get one ingredient. So to search in the pantry, you can pick up any of these stacks. These are double-sided cards. You can choose whichever side you want. Or if you don't want either side, you can just throw it wherever back into the pantry. It'll get messy. It's okay. And at some point, you'll say, okay, I'll take rice for my soup, and I'll take some mushrooms. And once you've used these 2 feet, then you can't use them to get more ingredients, and so you roll again. And then for here, I can grab 2 more ingredients. I grab some beans and a nice cream base, and so on, and some sausage for my soup. And you can go back and get things later as long as you've rolled feet. There's no limit to the number of ingredients you can take, but it's just always remember there's a timer going. So the more stuff you get, then the more time you're kind of spending to get them. So once you've acquired them, you actually have to prepare the ingredients. They're not pre-made. You have to chop them or cook them or mix them or measure them. So with these dice, the easiest thing to do with the ingredients is the green chopping. So if you roll any number of these green chop dice that you roll, you can move on to the matching symbol on the ingredients. And so these are the set of instructions you have to do in this order. So first you have to chop the sausage, then you have to cook it. And when you have a number of dice on there equal to the number of symbols, you've completed that step. So as soon as I have 2 green chops on this row, I can say that's completed. You're going to take a chip of any color and put it there to say I've chopped the sausage.
Okay, sure.
However, they're not cooked yet, so that's going to be the next thing I have to do. So again, chopping is you can just take any number of dice that you roll and put them on the matching one, and once they line up, that's when it's complete. Cooking, however, cooking takes time. You can't just turn up the burner and have it instantly done. So even if I roll, and I roll multiple cook symbols, I can't put them both there at the same time. I can only put one of them there. As you can see, there's a little break between the arrows. So then I would roll these again, and then I can put a second one on, roll these again, and a third one, and once this is filled up with the appropriate number, then I've cooked the sausage as well. However, you do have, because this is a fully functional kitchen, you have pans, you have ovens, all that stuff. So if I had rolled this many, I could say cook my sausage with this cook symbol and also be cooking my rice over here from the same roll, and then, you know, finishing that off or what have you, and then working on the sausage.
Yep. Okay.
So that's how chopping and cooking works. Mixing is the blue. I'll find another one here. There we go. It's a better example than those. So mixing requires you to mix multiple things together. So when you roll blues, you can freely put them on there, but you can't mark it complete, let's see, I'll put it there, until you have 2 or more things ready to be mixed. So I'm mixing my cream and my flour, for instance. So once these are both ready, then I can mark those as both complete.
Okay.
Make sense? It can be more than 2 things that you're mixing together. If for whatever reason you want to mix rum and flour and cream, that is something you can do.
You're looking to have some fun tonight.
Yeah, exactly. That is going to be some fun bread. But as long as it's 2 or more different ingredients that are ready to be finished at the same time that I mix.
Okay.
And finally, there is measuring. So measuring is very precise. You don't want too much, you don't want too little. So when you roll, you have to get exactly that number on the dice in order to place them. So So because I rolled 2 here, I can't put them on the cayenne because the cayenne requires 3 at once. And I can't put it on the sugar because that only requires 1. This roll was useless to me, and so I'm going to keep rolling. So then I've rolled exactly 1, then I can measure my sugar. And then that step would be done. The slasher means you can do either one. So either I can mix my sugar with something, or I could just measure the amount of sugar in by itself.
Okay.
Likewise, with the cayenne, I might be working a while in order to finish the cayenne. So once you have all the steps on the card done, if you look in the corner here, you can see that there is an ingredient symbol, or 1 or more ingredient symbols, like rum has 3 different things. So that's the kind of slot it can go into in your recipe. So for example, sausage here, you go in this slot because it's a meat, and this can take a meat or a vegetable in this slot. Many of these have a penalty on them, so if you don't put anything in that slot, you'll lose that many points at the end of the round if you don't have something in there.
Okay.
And when you have something in there, you'll be able to score the value of the ingredients, which is in this lower corner.
Okay.
Some of them are optional, like you don't need bread in your soup and you don't need noodles in your soup, but if you include them, then you'll be able to score those points. Otherwise, you can't include the ingredient if there's no slot for it.
Okay.
Makes sense.
And some of them are more important, like you need liquid in your soup, it turns out. It's kind of important.
Nah.
So there are the 4 sides of the dice that are the different ways you prepare, and then there's one other side, which is the purple technique star. So those can do multiple kinds of things. For one, you might be going through and you're like, man, I cannot find a liquid for the life of me, but I really want to put something in that slot. So any ingredient that you've completed, you can put a star on there, and it becomes a wild ingredient. It can go into any part because you're substituting. So I'm turning my mushrooms, liquid mushroom base.
Cream of mushroom. That's like that's
Sure.
the thing, right?
Yeah. Well, then you probably use the cream.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you do substitute, it's only going to be worth half points, but at least you're covering up a potential penalty as well. It also allows you to use ingredients you might not otherwise be able to use,
Yeah.
because then it can count as any of them. Otherwise, at the end of the round, you can be rolling these leftover dice. You have to roll all of them. You can't selectively choose them. But every star that's left on your dice at the end is worth a bonus point because you're plating and make your dish look nice.
Okay.
So once the 5-minute timers run out, you throw away all the ingredients you haven't prepared because they're unfit for consumption, and place them in the slots as you choose. And then you have to explain your dish to the judges.
Oh, good.
Say, judges, I have prepared for you a wonderful mushroom soup with a rum flour base to give it some extra kick and thickness, with cayenne to really spice it up with that flavor, but also with some sugared sausage in there in order to really give it a depth of flavor. I wouldn't recommend that set of ingredients, but that is the kind of thing you do. So you explain all your ingredients, everyone does the pitch, then you have votes that you can give out. You have to vote for other people. You have like a real vote, and then you have a style point to give out to somebody who might not have gotten there, but at least is doing something interesting. Anybody like myself
Like
who just happens
sausage.
to be like sugared sausage, exactly. Anybody else who happens to be nearby when they hear the pitches, like, I might be an impartial judge, I can also give out a vote. And anyone else who's around, and then you score your dish based on the ingredients that you have, minus anything that you've missed, and you also get score for votes.
Okay.
This sounds amazing. I'm looking forward to trying this
As a
out.
person who enjoys cooking shows, I am about this.
As a person who enjoys cooking, I like this.
All right. Look who is good at cooking.
All right. No.
Are you going to be our Ted Allen?
Yes.
Okay, great.
All right.
Let me grab a timer here. Any other questions before we begin? And just, if anything comes up, feel free to ask.
I think so far so good. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Your 5-minute timer begins now. So you can only pick up one at a time.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Even though, okay. So I have, all right, so there's that, and then,
And when you do this, you can only grab, you can't use the rest of the die for anything, right?
You can actually. You can spread them out as much as you like.
Could I do that?
You can't do that in this case because you have to mix the crab before you can cook it. Yeah. But otherwise, if it were a cook first, you could.
whoa, okay.
6. So you can all join. Are you all familiar with this? No, that's why we want So the way I like to explain Flux is the basic rules are draw one, play one. So you're going to start with 3 cards in your hand, and you can go to the rule set. But some of the cards are new rules. And the new rules can completely change the way the game is played. There are also actions, roles, and keepers, and surprises, and creepers. So this is in particular Batman. So they're all Batman. So goals are how you win the game. So if the goals will normally have 2 or more keepers. If you have those keepers in front of you.
So remember, you need to have another ingredient that is ready to be mixed as well. So if you put 1 more blue on there, yep, there you go. And, yep, and if you put 1 there, then they can. There you go. And then they're both done.
You must play it immediately, no matter what. You then have to draw another card. You draw another card. So like this one says, no one can win unless the goal requires a villain. So like if this was out, if you had this,
It's either one, so you could mix it or you could double cook the butter.
Can I do these things at the same time?
So
Yep,
the villain
yep, that's fine. But remember, you need something else to mix the blue part with. You can do the green one and just leave the blue dye on there if you want.
There are other cards like actions that allow you to defeat villains, so you can get rid of them. Surprises can be played
2.5 minutes remaining in the round.
So normally a surprise would be
Get it on the plate.
It's like this one, cancel plans. It's when someone else plays a goal and you just say, no, I don't want that goal. There's only 1 goal available at a time. If someone plays a new goal, it counts.
Well, unless there's a new rule.
There are rules that allow more
That
goals.
allow 2 goals. And there could be a case of 5.
So basically, it's all fun.
Everything I just said can be rewritten by a new goal.
Okay.
So, really, it starts out draw 1, play 1. This gets really crazy.
2 minutes.
I can do this though, right? And keep rolling.
What's that?
I can prep these and then keep rolling
Yes.
until I get to here.
Yep,
Okay, cool.
exactly. Of course, the dice aren't going to cooperate then, but you know.
Right. Cool.
When one player has fulfilled a goal, that player wins. Lots of villains going on. If you have any creatures, you place them now. Yeah, when you draw a creeper, you have to
1 minute.
draw a card from the deck to replace it.
I have to do these in separate roles if I get 2 at the same time.
Correct. Yep.
This is our rapid fire shelf. All these items are super fast, including
Where's the bread? Noodles, good enough.
So I guess some of the keepers have like
30 seconds.
mine says once during the turn. Unless someone plays it does become a mess. I'm going to write a
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hands off the plate.
I feel like when
Step
we
away.
started, it was still like we were relatively careful to put them back into stacks, and then it just turned into like, ah!
Yeah, yep, that happens.
Find the ingredients!
You guys using this?
Not at the moment, no, go ahead.
Abilivirus, this is a game, actually a prototype game by Dave Chalker over here. He's the designer of it. What is it called again?
Cook off.
Cook Off. So
It's super chaotic and super fun.
Yeah, this looks pretty damn. This is a lot of fun. This is interesting.
So I have
Let's
everyone to
let's
set
see.
up
Sorry, I
those
didn't get to you until now, but yep, that's what this is.
So as I supposed to put all my stuff on my plate and I just didn't do it in time?
No, you can do it
we can
now.
do it now.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. That
Yeah,
can wait till after.
this was just an organizational tool for me. All right, I have to think about how to describe this.
Yeah.
Surprise! The element surprise is mostly like reverse something someone else does. So like when someone plays a roll, they play veto, it'll erase the veto.
Do each of the elements have to be discrete? So, for example, could I have like
Yeah, it
potato
really
noodles?
does.
I think that'd be fine.
So far,
Yeah.
we're really enjoying it. We're about to finish the first round, and yeah, let's see how. Because now comes the really interesting part. Because now we have to describe our foods. So
Whatever chaotic thing we just threw together.
Yes,
yeah, that's what we have to.
so as you can see, it's,
If we don't use stuff, we just throw it back.
Just throw it back in. Yep.
alrighty.
All right. Who is ready to describe your dish?
Greg, do you want to go first?
I guess
You
I'll
want me to go
start. All
first?
right. Good afternoon, judges. Today, for my soup dish, I have prepared for you a tomato broth with ham and grated Parmesan with potato noodles to include to really give some starch and soak up some of that delicious tomato broth, and as well some soy sauce to round it out with that little kick of sodium, and then spinach to brighten everything.
Alrighty. Well, judges, today I am bringing to you a mix of East and West. So we've got some really nice soy sauce-based broth. And with that, we have actually the lobster is the protein that I went with. It is, very subtle taste, but goes really well with the soy sauce. For the bread on the side, you have a strawberry bread, and then it is spiced with a little bit of bell pepper and Chesapeake seasoning, because of course Chesapeake goes with the lobster, and the bell peppers just add a little bit of that vegetable flavor. And there's a lot of smoothness added by the avocado at the end, with a little bit of a garnish.
So, good evening. I went with a sort of southwestern flavor, almost classic chicken tortilla soup with some scallions to add a little bit of flavor, and then pepper jack for the spicy, and then cinnamon to add a little bit of like horchata with butter to richen the chicken.
There we go.
Last one.
And I made a crab chowder of sorts with a beautiful pear garnish on top. Everybody knows pear goes with crab chowder.
All right. So you're gonna take your 2 votes. You're gonna give them away face down to 2 other people. The one that says style is just a style points. The one that says vote is actually gonna be worth what your actual vote is.
There, and then I'm gonna go.
All right. So now you're gonna add up the value of the ingredients that you used minus any things that you didn't fill that have a penalty.
So since I didn't get this one, I can just not count down.
Sure. Yeah. Just -1 from your total overall.
Ooh. Cooking bucks.
Cookbooks. Yeah. Let's do this for example's sake.
Okay. Or
Oh yeah.
Plus the votes
Yeah. Plus $1 for every actual vote.
and 18.
Nice. 17 for me.
Got a lot of plating bonuses there.
13 for me.
So now we have a new rule. There can be up to 2 rolls.
Okay. Thank you.
Also, the goal is changed to this, so you're happy with it. Awesome.
All right, so that would be a 1-round game. So if we were doing the full game, it would be a starter, an entree, and a dessert, and you'd have a cumulative score right there, and you wouldn't look at the votes going.
This is really awesome.
So what are the final scores here?
This is your hand now. You could
13.
17.
Sounds like 18 with our chicken.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Yep.
I had the lobster took forever, but I didn't have anything else that was worth a damn.
Good job not giving us all salmonella. So that was, yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Exactly.
We appreciate that.
Nobody has any romaine included in their dish.
Yeah. No, that was super fun. I've been on the lookout a little bit for like cooking themed games lately. There's one that I just saw on Kickstarter, Sweet Mess. I think that's all about like baking
Yeah.
and stuff.
That
And
looks
so
cool.
it's gotten me in the mood for this type of thing. And this is really, really great.
Yeah.
I think it captures like the frantic energy, but also like there's a lot of strategic elements. If you can take the time to think about like, you know, ham is worth less than lobster, but also like I had to do way less than you did.
That was already pre-cooked ham. You just had to slice that sucker and throw it in.
This was super fun. Thank
Yeah,
you
no.
for letting us demo your prototype.
Yeah.
No
I
problem.
want to like just lay these cards all out there. Some people are nice. They're like, oh, I'm just gonna grab one card at a time. And I'll grab it.
Yeah. Hey, no, I need this. I need this. I need this.
We've actually done it where the things that we've made in the game, we've been like, oh, that would sound good. We've actually made it and served it to the other players like
that's
a week
awesome.
later. Generally dessert because sometimes like
yeah.
the entree is in particular can be a disaster.
I was gonna
yeah.
say like my strawberry batter. Like,
You might not give that a try.
Wouldn't go with the lobster and soy sauce.
What have I got in the pantry? All right, just throw all this crap in there.
Oh man.
I thought these were pretty good sounding though. Like,
Yeah, overall fairly coherent. Nobody had, you know, mushroom liquid or whatever.
Right. Mushroom liquid or rum and cream.
Yeah. Although I did have Parmesan bread, which actually sounds pretty good. I'm
Yeah.
gonna be completely honest.
Yeah, that does sound pretty great. Yeah. Yeah, no, this is interesting. I really love the chaotic nature of it. I'm not usually a fan of those like kind of real time kind of games, but this is I think perfect for this type of game. Like
More
'cause-
party-ish, yeah.
Yeah, party-ish, and also just like it really is just exactly like a cooking show. It's just like, all right, we gotta get this. I'm not paying attention to what you're doing or you're doing or you're doing. I'm just doing my own stuff. I'm like, roll, come on. All right, gotta get this.
And 5 minutes was perfect because you start off like trying to play, and by the end you're just like, I have to get something.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. It's like,
Get it
need
on the
to
plate,
play?
get it on the plate.
Yeah.
I have strawberries. Okay, whatever. Let's go. Strawberries.
Bread, I don't care.
I need to mix this dough with something.
Yeah.
Strawberries.
Yeah. Well, yeah, this was super, super good.
Yeah, no, this is a lot of fun.
A few years. Yeah. Probably around 3 at this point.
Yeah. Any plan on launch Kickstarter or anything? Talking to anyone about it?
I've been trying to get publishers to pick it up, and I've had some interest that have kind of fallen off, but I'm still on the hunt, so trying to make that happen. But
Yeah. 'Cause
hopefully,
this is
hopefully you'll see it in game stores like Labyrinth
Yeah.
someday.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, this
Oh, I
is.
forgot they were two-sided.
Oh man.
Went over and I was like, oh, it's crap.
I just blew my own mind. Oh my god.
Oh man. Yeah, I completely forgot about that.
Yeah.
Oh, I had brandy.
Very fancy.
What's the other side of lobster? Oh,
lettuce.
romaine!
Yeah, careful.
Probably made the right choice there.
Oh, I had another lobster on the back of one of my lobsters.
You go double lobster.
It's a limit 1 per
Yeah.
ingredient type.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I prepared lobster with lobster so on the side.
Everything is lobster.
Lobsterception.
You say lobster 3 ways.
Yeah, exactly.
Ooh.
Right.
Yeah, there you go.
Dang. That's a style point right there. That's
So yeah, the style points are the tiebreaker at the
sure.
end.
That makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense. Oh man. Yeah, no, that's a lot of fun.
So how did you, in terms of like designing it, how much effort did you put into balancing like the values versus the effort versus the like, are there certain types of ingredients that are inherently worth more or worth less? Like,
Somewhat. So a lot of it's kind of gut feeling based on how the ingredient is actually like considered, you know, in these kinds of shows, like lobster and steak. Like they're things that you have to do correctly, and if you do them correctly, they tend to pay off. So trying to balance those, but then there's a bunch of, you know, staple kind of ingredients that are included in a lot of dishes, but aren't necessarily worth a lot. But you don't want to take the penalty for not having that slot.
Right.
Yeah. And how many different foods do you have? Like, or are you planning on doing anything like that?
So I think I have 24 different starters and desserts and slightly more of the entrees.
Oh wow.
Okay.
Yeah, these are also double-sided, so let's see, soup or fish cake or wings or salad or that kind of thing. Breakfast like brunch and breakfast sandwiches and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So a bunch of variety in, you know, the different rounds that you want to play.
Oh, that's awesome.
You've definitely succeeded in making me hungry. I didn't eat much. So.
Yep. It does have that effect. I try to warn people. It's better if you've eaten going in, but
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, no, this is a really interesting game. So have you been playtesting this for a long time? Yeah.
so I've taken it to conventions like Unpub for unpublished things and getting feedback there, and it started out a little closer to some existing cooking shows, and I tried to drift it so it played better on the tabletop, you know, and wasn't quite as you know, strictly adhering to that formula. One thing we didn't play with that, you know, if you play multiple games worth, is I have sabotages here that you draft based on
Cutthroat Kitchen
style. So there are things like, so you lay a bunch of them out at the beginning of the round, and whoever's behind, like, picks one, and then whoever's next. So it's like a catch-up mechanism. Sure. And you can make things like, you have to hold a drink in one hand for the entire round, and whenever you roll, you take a drink. Things like things like you have to sit on the floor, or you're using freezer-burned veggies, so all your vegetables are worth fewer points. There's ones where you have to move your dice onto your cards using chopsticks, like actual chopsticks.
Oh man, that's great.
You have to present your dish as a haiku, so you have to like arrange your ingredients 575.
This is amazing.
that's awesome.
Like I cannot wait to play this.
One of my favorites is you sabotage two other people, and whenever they roll, they have to high five. So you can like choose two people to like high five across the
God
table.
damn it, high five!
Exactly.
Oh man.
No, I'm definitely looking forward to this.
Yeah, no, this
Keep
is great.
Keep us posted about when
I
it comes
will,
out.
for sure.
Yeah. If you ever need more playtesters.
And for the two of you, we have raffle tickets. Thank you very much for playing a demo.
Yeah.
And thank you, Dave.
Yep.
Yes.
Thank you.
We're great.
Thanks.
Yeah, that was great. Oh man, that is a great game.
All right, I'm gonna go get food.
Yeah.
That's what's happening right now.
Thank you all for joining. We will be back shortly, so stay tuned to Dragon's Demize. We'll be back with some more content from Labyrinth on International Tabletop Day. See you in a bit.